I guess we should talk about the state of play that I didn't give two shits about. The state of play was like, I got nothing to say, man. I watched it expecting Konami to show up and announce a release date for the Suikoden remasters. That didn't happen because I knew it. Konami usually prefers to do that on the Nintendo Direct. I don't know when's the next Nintendo Direct, but I figured they were gonna do that. I figured that's what they're gonna do. Like, they're not gonna announce anything on PlayStation. Fuck PlayStation, right? Konami's gonna be like, no, I'm just gonna throw my AAA politicized Silent Hill 2 remake, and that's it. Suikoden remasters, now I'm gonna save that for the Nintendo Direct. Or maybe they're trying to, like, balance things out. Like, okay, Sony, I'll give you this. Nintendo, I'll give you this, right? Maybe. But we still don't have a release date for those damn Suikoden remasters. That's all I cared about. Everything else has a release date, or something like a release date. Like Ys 10, released during the fall. When exactly, we don't know. Trails Through Daybreak, coming out in like a month. Megami Tensei Vengeance in like 15 days or a week from now. What else? The Monster Hunter Stories Remaster, coming out in like 10 days, I think. So, what else do we care about when it comes to JRPGs? What else do we JRPG gamers care about? A lot of you watched the State of Play, and I watched it too, and I was like, this has been a fucking colossal waste of my time. Sure, there was these new open world action RPGs that look freaking impressive, taking place in Japan or China or whatever, you know. I don't really care that much about them. Someone reached out to me on an email saying, hey, this new game is coming out. These new, Where Winds Meet is coming to PlayStation 5. Someone reached out and I was like, hey, we're honored to be featuring the PlayStation State of Play event today as our title Where Winds Meet will be coming to PlayStation 5. And that's like, okay, dude. Thanks for letting me know. I watched the fucking show. What do you want from me? A review code? You want me to review the game, talk about the game? You want to talk business? No, that's like, hey, our game was just announced. Anyway. So, what else? Astrobot's getting a sequel. We care so much about that game, right? I like the first one. I never finished it. I completed a few stages and gave up. I was like, hey, it's a good game, but nah. It has a lot of personality. That's what I liked about that game. Astrobot, the first one. Playroom. I just couldn't care less about the rest of the show. Do you think that the Monster Hunter game that you mentioned will hurt Shin Megami Tensei 5 Vengeance? No, I don't think so. This is this Gaia, right? Or The Witch in the Hundred? The Witch in the Hundred Knight. So, no, I don't think it will hurt Shin Megami Tensei whatsoever, and I'll tell you why. Because Monster Hunter is a huge franchise, but Monster Hunter Stories is pretty much a hidden gem or something like that. I remember when the second game came out a couple of years ago, most people didn't give a damn about it because it was a turn-based RPG, kind of Pokemon-like. And if you're a Monster Hunter fan, you may or may not be also a Pokemon fan or something like that, or a turn-based RPG fan, but sure, Monster Hunter is an RPG franchise. They're open-world RPGs, but they focus on monster hunting, right? So, I'm just trying to say that these are two very different audiences. It's as if they released, I don't know, a God of War turn-based RPG. Oh, here's a perfect example. You know the franchise Halo, right? Halo has been going on forever, since the early 2000s with the original Xbox. And I remember when they released this little strategy spin-off called, I think it was called Halo Wars. I could be wrong though, I don't remember, that was a long time ago. Nobody gave a damn about it. And were they trying to cater to Halo fans? No, I mean, you got your first-person shooter, and now you got your strategy game. Come on, you got your Call of Duty and your StarCraft. I mean, it's like, sure, I do believe there are people who like both games, right? Both series, both genres. But when it comes to Halo and Halo Wars, I mean, it's got a lot of fans. I think most Halo fans did not play Halo Wars, so whatever the fuck its name is. So I think it's the same case for Monster Hunter. Like, a lot of Monster Hunter fans won't give a damn. Some will do, but most of them won't give a rat's ass about Monster Hunter Stories 1 or 2. So I don't think it's gonna hurt Shin Megami Tensei at all. I think Monster Hunter Stories 1 is going to be just kind of there, and it'll eventually become a hidden gem, just like the original version. The original version of the 3DS, nobody knew about it. It's a hidden gem. It's an obscure game. And now it's been being remastered or remade or whatever, you know. People will care about it for a short period of time, and then it will become a hidden gem again. That's what I think is gonna happen. What's your favorite final boss? I think some of my favorites, even though they are a bit frustrating, are the ones in Odin Sphere. Chrono Cross. Well, okay, Chrono Cross has 2 final bosses. Okay, the first one is one of my favorites. The second one where you have to play the song in order, fuck that final boss. One of the worst. I love Chrono Cross, but one of the worst final bosses of all time. One of the most frustrating of them all. But the first one, no spoilers, I fucking love that boss fight. Always looking forward to that boss fight on every playthrough. There are others that are just as frustrating, like some of my favorite JRPGs of all time. Valkyrie Profile 2 Silmeria. Wow, you guys know me. Die-hard fan, love it passionately, but goddamn the final boss. It's a 2 stages final boss, and the first one is one of the absolute worst, if not the worst final boss ever. The second one, the second stage, the second form, that's okay. That's an okay boss fight. Pretty damn hard, but it feels more like an actual boss fight. But the first part, fuck it to fucking pieces, man. Fuck that first form. It's not really a form, but I can't explain it to you guys, okay? I will need to spoil the heck out of you. No spoiler, let's just say it's horrendous. What else? Oh man. Instead of saying what are the best final bosses of all time, I'm focusing on the worst. Anyway, those are some of the worst. Blue Dragon, fuck the final boss. Blue Dragon, oh man. Anyway, some of the best ones. Yeah, the ones in Odin Sphere are frustrating as hell, but they're so fun. They're 5, 1 per character. I don't know why I'm thinking of Eternal Poison, the true final boss. It's a really fun boss fight with all the protagonists, you know. Ooh, sorry for the spoiler, but that's a cool boss fight, final boss fight. Some of the Tales games the Tales games are a mixed bag. You know, some of them have like really disappointing boss fights, and others are like really epic. I don't know, Exilia final boss was pretty epic. What else? Berseria, I just beat Berseria for the second time a few weeks ago. And the final boss is epic because of Velvet, right? I mean, you spend the entire game trying to get to that specific point, and then you get to that point, and because you know how many JRPGs are like, they're about, including a lot of the Tales games, right? That you spend the entire adventure, or a big part of the adventure, you know, trying to get to that point, and you get to that point, but no, that was not the final boss, and now it's something else. The game is about something else, new plot, new antagonist, blah blah blah, and you're like, okay, that's okay, nothing against that, you know, but it was just better with Velvet and Tales of Berseria, you know. You spend the entire fucking game, you know, like, oh, I want to kill this guy, I want to fight this guy, and then you fight that guy as a final boss, and it's awesome. Love it, man. One of my favorite final boss themes of all time. Final boss battles of all time. What else? Ys 8 had a pretty epic boss fight. Not one of the most epic boss fights, and it was kind of annoying because there's some platforming involved, right? You gotta jump around, and yeah, it was kind of frustrating. It's a good final boss, but epic, but not one of the best, not one of my favorites. But yeah, some of the Ys games have epic final bosses, like the first 2. The first one, really annoying boss fight, but it was, I don't know, it just felt kind of epic. The music, the atmosphere, the graphics in there, the background, I was fucking epic, man. How about the Star Ocean games? We could go on, man. We could go on forever talking about final bosses. There's a lot of them that are like really, really epic. Some of the Trails series, well, the Trails games kind of fool you. You get to a final boss that is fucking epic, man, and no, that was not the final boss. Oh, okay. And you get to another one and, oh, this is it. No, that was not the final boss. So when you actually get to the actual final boss, it's still epic, it's still awesome, but it just feels like you're worn out, right? Some Trails games, you know, others are kind of like, man, I don't know. Trails from Zero and Asher, the final boss was kind of like okay at best. But Cold Steel 4, Trails of Cold Steel 4, the final boss was fucking epic, man. The 3 parties mechanic, I mean, that was fucking epic, man. One of my favorites. That's it. Let's move on. Those are some of my favorite final bosses. Tactical games like Fire Emblem or Devil Survivor. Wow. You know, Devil Survivor is probably on my top... It is definitely on my top 5 favorite strategy RPGs of all time. So... And, well... You're making me compare 2 games against an entire franchise. I don't know, man. I think Devil Survivor is just up there. I think I prefer Fire Emblem, the old Fire Emblem gameplay mechanics. Storytelling and music, of course, Devil Survivor is far superior than any other Fire Emblem in existence. But when it comes to map design, the battle mechanics, right, I think I prefer Fire Emblem. I just love that. My favorite battle system of all time, man. The old Fire Emblem style. Grid-based, the triangle system, weapon system, which is non-existent anymore nowadays because some fucking imbeciles took over the series. But yeah, the Game Boy Advance games, the GameCube, Wii games, you know, Nintendo DS games, great battle mechanics, great maps, incredibly well thought out map design, layouts, you know. I love Devil Survivor, which is just as creative and original, and it's perhaps more original, but there's just something about the Fire Emblem mechanics that, I mean, I just love it, man. Damn, that's a really hard competition, man. Fire Emblem Path of Radiance versus Devil Survivor. Yeah, I'm gonna have to go with Devil Survivor, but I still like the battle mechanics a little bit more in Fire Emblem. But Devil Survivor is such, you know me, I'm a diehard fan. It's one of my top 10 favorite video games of all time. Love it passionately. Is there a JRPG for you that is not a JRPG? I made a video about that. It's called Top 10 JRPGs that are not really RPGs. Not really. I still consider most of them as JRPGs, but yeah. Anyway, so the best example I can give you is The Legend of Zelda. A lot of people consider those games as RPGs, I just don't. But I haven't played the newer ones, Breath of the Wild and the other one, Tears of the Kingdom. Haven't played those, but I did play Twilight Princess, Ocarina of Time, A Link to the Past, Link's Awakening, the original 2 games, and I see the RPG elements, but not what I will call an RPG though. But that's just my opinion. I mean, it's not a fact. It's not like I'm saying Zelda is objectively not an RPG. No, it's just my opinion, right? Subjectively speaking, it's not an RPG, but it's open for debate. A lot of people consider those games as RPGs. That's great. I consider a lot of RPGs that don't have as many RPG elements as Zelda as RPGs, right? So I mean, it's a fun discussion. Zelda is a fun discussion because it's one of those series that are like, maybe some games are RPGs, maybe the others are not, but it's that one series. I think the creators should just come out and say something, you know. Miyamoto, yeah. I think this gets into the problem of the definition of RPG, but personally I think of Zelda as a real-time adventure game. There you go! From the mouth of Miyamoto himself, Zelda is officially not an RPG franchise. I'm not gonna argue with its creator. No fucking way. But I would like him to say, like, to go by title, you know, not just the overall series. But if he said that, no questions asked, right? Still, people can have opinions, right? If a Zelda game feels like an RPG, then it's an RPG to them, right? I respect that, but if Miyamoto, the creator, says it's not, then it's just not. Do you recommend the game Grand Knight's History from Vanillaware? The PSP game, it's fan translated. Yeah, I do recommend it, but it's very repetitive. You're gonna be doing the same and the same and the same. I never beat the game. I gave up. I put like 10 hours into it and I was like, this is going nowhere. And I got tired of it. But if you like, you know, repetitive games that are campaign driven, like it's a turn-based RPG and all you do is fight through campaigns, and defeat a lot of enemies in turn-based combat with barely any story, I think you're gonna like it. If that's your type of game, I do recommend it. But if it's not, you're probably gonna be like me. Fortunately, the game is free. You can only play it through emulation, so try it out, mate. It's free. Make your own decision. How do you see the future of JRPGs on Xbox? I see no future in... No, I'm just kidding. Well, I don't know. I think it's fine. I think most JRPGs... not most of them, but a lot of JRPGs have been released on Xbox during the past several years. You know, some of the big ones out there, you know, some of the Persona games are already there. Some of the Final Fantasy games are there, the Tales games, a lot of Bandai Namco. Bandai Namco has been supporting the Xbox for the past several years. You know, I still see the future of JRPGs mostly on Nintendo and PlayStation, but Xbox is still there. It's a good choice. But it's the console or the system with the least priority. The priority for JRPGs is often Steam, Switch, PS5. And then Xbox Series X is like the bottom of the barrel, but there's still a crap ton of JRPGs on the Xbox. So while I don't see a strong future of when it comes to JRPGs on the Xbox consoles, I still think the consoles still own a future. It's just there aren't any exclusives anymore like they were back in the Xbox and Xbox 360. I think Microsoft learned its lesson and they've stayed away from exclusivity when it comes to JRPGs. Right now, I can't think of a single JRPG that's exclusive to Xbox Series X or Xbox One at least. There isn't a single one. But there's the Game Pass, and the Game Pass has been supporting JRPG content and games for the past few years. But to be honest, it's nothing big, it's nothing huge. Everybody knows, including Microsoft, including Xbox, that their consoles aren't the best home for the genre. They learned that, and they can live with that, right? So, but still, a crap ton of JRPGs are still being released on Xbox. I'm just repeating myself, you know. I don't see a big future. I don't see like, oh, JRPGs are going to start getting big on Xbox consoles. No, I think it's going to be the same. You guys are gonna get some, not all of them, but some of them. And that's it. There's still going to be support for JRPGs, just not that much. In terms of personality, what's my favorite element of a JRPG character design? I like personalities to be edgy, just not that edgy. I like edgelords, but I'm more of a multi-dimensional type of personality. Like, I want these characters to go through something and have different opinions about different things and think differently on different things. You know, I like that. I prioritize my favorite characters are like that, or I also have a bunch of favorite characters that are like over the top, but they're so unique and special at the same time. Even if they're not multidimensional, there's just something very unique about them. Or I love the type of characters like Harley from Chrono Cross that give off this cliche tropey vibe, but then every now and then they start saying things, or they have an opinion on this, or their dialogue is like you weren't expecting that, you know. That's the type of personality that I like about JRPG character design. And when it comes to physical, you know, I don't really have a preference. It's not like I want every single character to be attractive or cool looking, you know. Some of the most boring looking characters are some of the best out there. So I have no preference, you know, as long as they don't look fucking ridiculous. The one thing that I don't like about Velvet Crow in Berseria is her outfit. Sure, it's sexy, it's there to show off some skin and fan service, but it looks kind of weird, kind of like it doesn't fit her personality. If they wanted to make her look sexy, I think they could have done better, you know. I don't know, there's just something about Velvet Crow's design that I'm not really a big fan of, but I fucking love that character. So, yeah. As long as they don't look that generic. I want their character, their design to look a little bit special. It doesn't need to be over the top special or cool looking or unique, but I don't want them to look fucking ridiculous. Like Rex, for example, looks in Xenoblade Chronicles 2 looks kind of like, what the fuck is he wearing, man? I mean, the hell is this, man? Or I don't know, Maggie Lou. I love Maggie Lou. I love her design, but the books around her make no sense. Nobody will go around or walk around with a bunch of heavy-looking books around her waist. I mean, that's just dumb. I don't know, man. It's I'm not that picky, that's what I'm trying to say, but I just don't want characters to look fucking ridiculous. Your guilty pleasure is the newer Star Ocean games. Why is that a guilty pleasure? What the hell, man? Those games are fucking great. Star Ocean 6, The Divine Force, amazing game. The remake of Star Ocean 2, masterpiece. How dare you call them guilty pleasures, man? What's wrong with you? Neptunia games are my guilty pleasure. So that's a guilty pleasure. See, right there is a guilty pleasure. That's something to feel embarrassed about. No, I'm just kidding. But come on, Star Ocean, see, what the hell, man?